when you're trying to start a business and you're trying to make money online, one of the worst things you can do is be chronically online, right? And a lot of guys tell you, oh, it's about internet money. Oh, just make money on the internet. Yeah, you should make money on the internet. But you're going to realize when you decide to be chronically online, there is such an overload of information. And I noticed something with guys that are chronically online. They all tend to be miserable because there is such an overload of information where you're getting ideas to start a social media marketing business, where you're getting ideas to do drop shipping. And sometimes when there's such an overload of information, you literally have trouble choosing. And for that reason, there's psychology they use in restaurants. When they're trying to make you pick a drink size, they only use 3 sizes. When they're putting flavors on the menu, they only put like 5 to 10 flavors. They don't put 50. And it's not because they can't. They can put 50 flavors, but they choose not to. Simply because when someone has too many choices in something, they just get shocked into not moving. They're like a deer in headlights. They're simply not sure what to do. So if you take away all those choices and you leave a person with only a few choices, it literally actually benefits them in a way, right? Now, this applies to a lot of things, but it especially applies to making businesses and making money, right? Because when someone starts a business and they don't see immediate results, or when someone starts a personal brand and they don't see immediate results, they're going to think, okay, something's wrong here. Let me go online again and let me look for something that's a little bit easier, right? And that's not the right mindset you should have. You should have the mindset where you're going to pick one thing, you're really going to stick with it. One thing you enjoy, you're going to stick with it, and you're going to see it through. Because results will take time, as with anything. You should avoid being chronically online just in the general sense, because it will literally just put you in consumption, where you're literally just going to be absorbing information all the time. You're not going to be taking action, right? It's perfectly fine to be someone who's more producing content, or to consume a little bit of healthier content each day, and then use the rest of your day being productive. But in the general sense, being chronically online will help you develop a negative mindset, right? And another thing is, if you are chronically online, you're going to meet other people who are chronically online. And this most likely is going to put you on a negative spiral. Why? Because most people who are chronically online tend to be miserable, right? They've done studies where they say that people who tend to be chronically online, they tend to not have a healthy social life in person. And if you think about it, it does make a lot of sense that someone who does not have a healthy social life in person is more focused on being chronically online, because that's kind of like their escape from their life. And that's not to say the internet wasn't useful. The internet is absolutely useful for connecting with people. That's to say, when you spend time being chronically online, you're going to be surrounded by people who also spend their time chronically online. And a lot of these people are miserable, and they'll be posting content and they'll be giving you their ideas that they have in their mind. And everything that comes from these people, I swear, a lot of it tends to be negative. Rarely do I meet a guy who's chronically online and who's online literally all the time, and he does not have some sort of negative mindset. When I go out to meet people in the real world, it's actually really easy for me to meet a guy with a positive mindset, right? As soon as I hop on the computer, it's so easy for me to find literally the worst people in the world on there, right? So it's something to keep in mind. Sometimes, having too much of an overload of information kind of prevents you from being focused, right? Sometimes having access to too many things kind of prevents you from choosing one thing and sticking with it. It puts you in a deer in headlights mode. And sometimes you really just got to ignore the noise. Ignore the noise and say, if I don't see 3 choices in front of me, I'm literally going to create the 3 choices that exist. And I'm just going to push everything else away. And you're going to realize this is actually going to help you stay focused. It's going to help you stay on the straight path. And it's going to help you literally produce and grow. And you'll realize that when you have an overload of information, when you have an overload of choices with anything, it literally prevents you from being your best self. And dating as well, yeah. When you something.